The bounty hunters. Okay? I know that the mind behind this is both insane and in a lot of pain, but that's the third room where there's a marking somewhere that says dreams, and the whole place is set up like a damn memorial. Scaly complains over the comms. It's not wrong to pity your opponents, so long as it doesn't stop you from doing what you have to. Whether we're putting down a rabid beast, executing a mass murderer, or mercy killing a victim, we're not leaving without killing the source of this. Pukey replies as he checks a room. Thankfully, there was a positive side effect to the helmet being almost invisible to his left eye. He could downright see through it, giving him a wider field of vision. Maybe something to integrate into the next model. It was damn useful. I know it's just, I don't know, I get feeling sorry for yourself. But honestly, lady, you have the power to do this. You should have had the power to do anything else and actually get what you want. And there we go. I bet you feel whatever sympathy there is drying up pretty hard at that revelation. Pukey answers, oh yeah, I mean, you teased me at being emo, but being justified. I was being a shit. I told you that. You agreed, and we had a constructive argument. Oh no, it was the tweak of the tail I needed to start training, but it stuck with me. Some people just want to whine, and oh sweet God, a memorial bedchamber dedicated to her hopes. How sad. Lady, you've eaten families. Scaly suddenly barks, and it nearly gets the ghost team to jump. Feel better? Dong asks. A bit, but it's like an axe murderer covered in their victim's blood trying to spin an excuse. Have you met many axe murderers? The adept asks, very much intrigued and listening in despite herself. I've seen a lot of them in stasis. Scaly offers. 1. You have seen a total of 8 crazed murderers in stasis, and only one of them used an axe. 2 were knife users, 4 used random blunt objects, and 1 used her arm blades. Only one of them used an axe, Dong says. The fact that you can pull that fact right out of your ass concerns me, Dong, J3 says. Some of us actually read over our old mission reports, J3. You know, the sort of thing that lets you trace your own damn trail through the galaxy. Dong replies, I do too, but you've clearly done it way more. J3 sends back. Gentlemen, we are damn near literally in the belly of the beast. Save it for the squared circle later, Pukey says as they scan another room. Bedroom, bare bed, bare cupboard partially ajar. Empty, sterile, lonely, and sad. Just like the last 4 rooms. They're going at this faster than Scaly's drone, but that's the advantage of the armor. Bedroom, 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 bedroom. Room full of strange light and electrical discharges via some weird globular organ hanging from fleshy vines. Tang lifts his rifle and sights down it. Think we should pop it? No, we don't know what it is, and we're maintaining stealth. It's tempting, but our first target has to be a vital organ. I don't know what this is, but I'll wager our enemy can live without it, meaning any damage here is superficial and likely to break stealth. We take note of it and move on. Pukey says. Copy that, Tang says. Hang on a second. I'm sending a visual into the network. Can anyone identify this thing? Bike asks as he uses his helmet's inbuilt camera to take a picture. I cannot, Letha says after a moment. That energy pattern is very similar to numerous different effects taught to Imperial adepts. However, it's unfocused and without direction. I think it's an energy reserve, not a vital organ, but one that will be noticed the moment it receives any damage, the adept explains. In other words, bait to anyone reckless enough to come in here and stupid enough to attack the first viable target they find, Tang notes. Not intentionally, but you should consider it as such, the adept says. I recommend recording its location and moving on. If you are discovered, then destroying it will weaken the entity, but before that, it will only expose you and anger the monster. I agree. Move out, men. We're still trying to find wherever this thing's brain or heart is, Pukey says, and they fall out. What's the status of your attack on the hull? How many cannons remain? I can tell you that. She's got 4 to go, but the creature is clearly giving her all kinds of attention and it's dodging time. More slag and acid about to be lobbed your way. Move! Scaly calls out, and there's some muttered invections in a language that only the insects and arachnids on the frequency understand. Right, moving on, Pukey says, and the team leaves the room. A few minutes later, Scaly reports he found another on the opposite side, identical to the first. The entire first floor is just bedroom after bedroom, with the occasional energy organ hanging from the ceiling. All the doors are open, but the only life is the organic batteries. "Can you hear the winds a-blowing?" Tang starts to say in a creepy voice. "Fucking really, dude?" the hat demands, and there's some snickering from the Korean sniper. "Yes, really, it's so damn quiet in here. Past 2 steps away from those battery bulbs and we can't hear a thing. We should hear the wind screaming, the sounds of the fight outside, something." But no, it's completely quiet. "Quiet as the grave?" Scaly asks in a dramatic tone. "As a tomb," Tang declares in an even hammier tone. "My life is in the hands of oversized children." The adept complains. "We're all oversized children in the end," Pukey adds as he looks into the next empty room through his helmet with his prosthetic eye. "This is just getting sad," Mr. T says. "No, really? The Hall of Lost Hopes and Dreams made by ancient Axiom adepts is a sad place to be. Who'd have thunk it?" Itchy asks, and he gets a glance. "What crawled up your cockpipe and died?" the hat asks. "Bad experience as a kid. I keep expecting some asshole with a mask and a baseball bat to jump out at me." Itchy answers, "I haven't heard of this." Scaly notes. "How often do we go through silent abandoned buildings like this?" Itchy asks. "Not often." Scaly returns. "Exactly," Itchy replies. "We seem to have cleared this floor. There are no staircases or elevators in sight, nor were there any in the main entrance hall." Scaly adds, "So if this is a house designed to be used by people, where the hell are the stairs?" Itchy demands. "They were an eartheny, a snicked, and a dren, which means there's only one chance in 3 that the house was designed by the dren, the only one of the 3 not capable of flight. Stairs may not even be a consideration for them. The large central room would give plenty of space to flutter or buzz up to where they need to go," Pukey explains. "So you do think it was them?" the adept asks. "It's nearly guaranteed," Pukey says. "All 3, though. Fused. I would have hoped such a pitiful state would have ended long ago," the adept states. "Can we get something in the way of a coherent explanation? We're about to get into a fight with this thing, and I'd really, really like to know about any potentially life-saving details. We looked for information online, but came up with a whole lot of nothing. Everything was redacted and destroyed so long ago that information retrieval was impossible beyond the most bare-bones bits. It's an old lesson for both adepts and politicians. For the politicians, it is a lesson about how pursuing personal vendettas can destroy your career and cast a black mark upon your reputation that only death can wipe away. For adepts like myself, it is a reminder that while you have enormous power, there are other powers and ways to reach you, even if the axiom around you makes you a physical goddess." "Okay? And this fusion thing that Scaly saw? How are they all twisted together?" "I do not know. It sounds like a severely destroyed consciousness preservation technique that's been discontinued in use. But for 3 people to use it at once, and then mess up that badly? Start from the top. What does it do?" Pukey asks as they make their way to the central room. "It imprints your consciousness and knowledge into the axiom. It's a last resort survival technique, useless in a fight with even a mildly skilled adept, though as it leaves you screaming, vulnerable to attack. Unless you understand the mathematical stabilizing equation of Agravia, then your axiom state is extremely vulnerable for manipulation. Its intended effect is to allow an adept to survive past the destruction of their body. However, its myriad weaknesses quickly took the technique out of common use." "Can you use it?" "I know the methodology, but only as a mental exercise of considering an extremely poorly thought-out technique," she answers. There's then the sound of electrical blasts over the communications, and they hear her bark orders to rip up the last of the cannons. "Fang's gone. Now to remove the remaining legs and disable the engine," the adept declares, and they can hear cheering from the rest of the team. "Still plenty of traps, though. Careless will still get you killed," Vexa adds in. "Right, we're going up to the 2nd story. Continuing search and destroy," Pukey says. "Adept, if you have the time, further information on this technique would be appreciated. How is it that it has fused 3 people into a singular being? It's one of the dangers to the technique. It's called the Axiom Soul Technique. Even if you use it while in no danger, this version of yourself can still be affected by other adepts. And if it gets too close to another axiom soul, it can become entangled. Some people would do this deliberately, creating short-lived axiom souls and merging them to create a Gestalt adept that are overwhelmingly powerful and far more capable than any of the original portions. And what would happen if a three-part Gestalt tried to merge with their biological counterparts? Pukey asks, and there's a gasp from the adept. Dodge! Scaly shouts over the link, and there's the sound of some very punchy language in a chittery tongue. It would be a lot like what we're facing now. 3 doubled minds in conflict with each other and merged. And how much more powerful are these Gestalts? Are we dealing with 3 to 6 potent adepts? It's more than that. The ability does not add, it multiplies. Even if the consciousnesses have receded or merged fully with their flesh counterparts, a Gestalt of 3 would have the base capabilities cubed. Base capabilities of which one? Potentially all of them simultaneously. Gestalts are extremely powerful. It wasn't until several of them went berserk at once that Imperial policy changed to deploying them in emergency situations only. This sort of power was deployed on the regular before. The sheer force to solve all your problems within a few moments, and then departing victorious and unblemished? Yes, we did deploy them regularly, the adept admits. Is this an emergency situation? The creature is mostly disarmed and being easily led away from civilian populations and infrastructure. This is most assuredly not an emergency situation. In truth, it barely rates high enough to have me present, the adept admits. Wow, Scaly remarks. That's what happens when the first response is the right one. We'd be seeing all kinds of interesting responses if you, Sally, and Air Farce didn't lead the monster away more or less as soon as it emerged, Pukey says, even as he and his team glance down the second-story hallway. All right, team, there are clearly differing patterns on this floor. Let's see what we can find. Beyond the resting places of the lady's hopes and dreams? Scaly mocks. We found plenty of those already, Pukey answers before shifting down. First door on the right, huge sitting room. Was it the Snikt? I think I read once that earthen architecture uses a lot of thick pillars as they prefer to sleep hanging off those. With a lack of stairs, this can't be the Drin. Does it matter? Possibly. Each species has a differing psychological profile, and the Snikt has inbuilt weapons, higher aggression, and lacks the extrasensory capabilities of the Drin and earthen.